summer slowdown seemed to show all of its cards this past season. So that had me thinking, as a full-time reseller, what can I do to improve and optimize my own Poshmark listings along with other platforms? So in this video, we're going to talk about 4 simple steps to improve and make your listings more visible. Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Joelle and I am a full-time reseller on several platforms, but Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari are my main ones. And in this video, we're going to talk about optimizing our listings and making them more visible. So when I talk about optimization, I'm not just talking about SEO, which is search engine optimization, and that is talking about Google. I am also talking about making your listings more visible for people who are searching on the actual platform like Poshmark or eBay. So I have here the definition of optimizing. It is making the best or most effective use of a situation, opportunity, or resource. So basically for this video, I want to share my best advice on how to make your listings seen. And we are going to talk about that with 4 simple steps. With these 4 steps, we are going to be breaking down the basic parts of a listing. So we are going to start right at the top and talk about photographs. Then we will talk about titles. Next will be descriptions, and finally we will talk about pricing. And of course, if you receive any sort of valuable information during this video, I hope you consider liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I love hearing your guys' feedback on these types of videos, so definitely make sure to let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this. But now let's get into the first step on how to optimize your listings. And this first step will be all about photographing. First off, lighting is everything. I personally used to just use natural lighting. I do have a ring light, but it doesn't provide near enough lighting, especially when you don't have that natural light. So I decided to recently upgrade. I do have these gigantic Amazon box lights. I believe it was 2 for $60. Came with the whole pack, the light bulbs, the tools to create it, and everything. It was really easy to assemble. I do have it linked below, and I will say I don't use Amazon a lot, but for these big reseller supplies that you really do need to kind of grow and scale your business, Amazon seems to be the only option, especially if you want to have more affordable prices. So this has been a game changer for my reseller business because I can now photograph at any time of the day because these box lights provide the best sort of lighting, and it seems to capture every little detailing about the listing. So lighting is everything. Also have a good clean background. I have a light gray wall, but the best option will definitely be a white wall. A good, cheap, and affordable option would be to just get some wallpaper. I know a lot of people will do that and they will make it maybe a white brick background or just a plain white one. Either way, it is going to be a nice clean background. Definitely makes the focal point the actual item that you're listing. Google also favors stock photos, but we're going to get to that in a couple of minutes. Next up though, I do want to talk about photo room. Photo room is going to be the best option to get a white background. I have run into instances where it kind of distorts the photos, so sometimes it is best to just have a regular standard wall in your background, but photo room definitely helps if you have those shadows in the background of your listing. So if you can't find a stock photo and you can't find a good clean background, I think photo room is going to be your best option. And if you do have Vendu or if you want to try it out, Vendu actually has photo room installed within their subscription. So with their tiered pricing, if you choose to import 125 items a month to CrossList, then you also get 125 options to remove the background on your listing. So this is great. It's like having the built-in Photo Room Pro subscription within your Vendu one. There's no additional cost. That is a huge perk of the app, and it is really easy because instead it is right there within the app. So if you do want to try out Vendu, I do have my link below. You can get 25% off your first month. I've been using it for about 4 or 5 months now, and I love it so far. But now let's get back to the final piece of advice I have for photographs, and then we'll get into titles. But that piece of advice is to use stock photos. People say that stock photos will get you banned, but it seems to be one of those things that Poshmark and other brands just let slide. I have found that when I am searching for something specific on Google, the stock photo almost always comes up first, even if it is a secondhand listing. So I think that stock photos are your best bet to make your listing the most searchable. I will say some certain brands that don't let you use stock photos are Vineyard Vines, Venus, White House Black Market, and I also think Beyond Yoga and Gymshark are pretty strict. However, there are a lot of brands that just let it slide. I recently learned that Free People also lets you use your stock photos, so you actually have Free People's permission to use them. So I thought that was a pretty cool piece of information. But to sum it all up on how to make your listing most searchable in terms of photographs, make sure you have a good, clean background. Make sure you have excellent lighting that will show the best colors and style of your listing. And finally, use stock photos when you can and if you can find them. All right, now we're on to the second step on how to optimize your listings. And this step is all about your titles. My best piece of advice is to create a structure or a template for all of your listings. Not only will this save you a lot of time when you're listing, I also think it will help you realize how searchable your listings really are. So for mine, the best title that I could form based on my own personal experience and other YouTubers will look like this. So first you will say the brand name, style name, if applicable, the actual item. So is it a t-shirt? Is it a dress? Distinguishing features, size, condition, if new with tags, and then just fill in the rest with anything else that is distinguishing. I will say though, I've also seen people put gender in their titles. I've experimented recently, but I can't really speak on it. So I want to know, what do you do? Let me know in the comments if you do put women's dress or women's top. Do you put unisex, men's? Is that something that you add to your listing? Next up, I have a pretty simple piece of advice. Skip out on the punctuation. I feel like something like an apostrophe or a comma just adds on to those extra characters, and you can use those characters for so many more things. And that leads me to my next point, which is use all of your characters. So like I said, just add those distinguishing features. A perfect example of this would be something that is hot pink. If I have anything that is pink, whether it is Barbie pink, hot pink, anything Barbiecore, I am going to add Barbiecore to the title because that is a very searchable term and something that is popular right now. Overall, I think it's best to just use all of those characters because you never know what someone will search and if your listing will pop up. So you want to definitely increase your chances of making your item more searchable. So to sum it all up with titles, make sure you have a template or a structure. I think that is going to be the best thing, and you can really find out how searchable your listings really are in terms of your title. All right, next up is one of my favorite parts of listing, which is the description. So similar to the titles, I put here for the description that it is important to have a template or a structure. Back to Vendu real quick. One thing that I did figure out is that you can actually create templates. I thought this was really cool, and it's customizable. You can add multiple templates, and so I've toyed around a little bit with it, but I recently created a template with jeans, and I will share the screenshot with you all so you can check it out. But again, this is something that will make listing just so much more quick and efficient. But now I'm going to share with you all a screen recording of an example of a listing and the basic template that I have for pretty much all of my listings. So first up, I repeat the title, put the size underneath that, and then the condition. I add a space. Then I put product details, and so this could be fabric, material, sleeve type, neckline, color, etc. Really just any type of product details or features that I can include. A great example for something like leggings would be adding features like quick dry and moisture wicking, things that people are really looking for when they're searching for activewear. After the product details, I add another space, and then I put the measurements, then I add a space, and then I add keywords or tags. So I personally think that keywords and tags are important. I add the really popular ones, like I said earlier in the titles. So that could be Barbiecore, academia, grunge. Gorpcore was a new one that I recently learned about. Some people choose not to include tags, but me personally, I think it is worth it. And that is another thing that I'm working on creating templates for. And so if I have something like a pair of Lululemon leggings, I'm probably going to use all of the same tags and keywords that I would for a pair of Nike leggings. So that would be keywords like athleisure, workout, sporty, gym and training, really just any type of tag I could think about that relates to sports and athletics. My next piece of advice on how to optimize your listings with your descriptions is to avoid paragraphs. So according to a lot of these Poshmark Facebook groups, I have seen that the list form is the preferred method for shoppers rather than having a paragraph. I think having a list form is not only quick and efficient for us as sellers, but also quick and efficient for buyers. There's just something about how it's drawn out. It just looks a little more appealing to the buyer, and it's a lot more difficult for those important features or maybe measurements to get lost in the listing. So definitely make sure that you're having a list form, and to ease up the listing process, make sure you are making those templates as well. And my final piece of advice is to include every single thing you can think about adding to that listing. So if you're listing a dress, you should be adding at least all of the following: neckline, sleeve length, sleeve type, dress length, dress fit. So is it sheath, bodycon, fit and flare, fabric, for example, crepe, knit, corduroy? Is that dress textured? So is it ribbed, cable knit? All of that information is going to be important. And all of that information is stuff that people are searching for, whether they are on Google, eBay, Poshmark, you name it. To sum it all up, I would much rather have too much in my listing rather than too little. So make sure you are adding every single little detail to that description to make it the most searchable and to make sure that your item is the first item that a shopper sees when they're searching for something specific. All right, we're on to the final step on how to make your listing seen. This final step is pricing, and pricing is something that I've really been working on in the past 3 or 4 months, and I've seen a huge improvement in not only full price sales, but also reasonable offers. So this is going to be another visual learning opportunity for you all. I am going to search one of my most popular listings, which is the Levi's rib cage straight ankle utility jeans. They are new with tags. It's one of Levi's most popular lines. So because of that, my listing has a lot of competition. So my biggest thing is going to be not only optimizing my listing with photos, titles, and descriptions, but also pricing my item accordingly, because that's oftentimes one of the first things that a buyer is going to look at. So if I search on eBay, new with tags, Levi's ribcage straight ankle utility jeans, there's not going to be a ton that show up. However, if you do look up Levi's ribcage jeans or even Levi's ribcage ankle jeans, there are going to be thousands that show up because, again, this is a really popular modern style. They do have a really good resale value and they have a great sell-through rate. However, when I do specifically search the straight ankle utility jean, it says 14 results pop up. And when I look at my listing, I am very happy to see that it pops up first over all the other listings. I'm not even sure if this listing is promoted. If it is, that is great. If not, that's even better because that means that my listing is very searchable for someone who's looking for this style. So when I'm looking at the prices, I do have it under all conditions. So you're gonna see some pre-owned ones. Mine are new with tags, which definitely raises the value, but a great example of pricing accordingly is that I am seeing pre-owned jeans that are listed for more. I'm also seeing new with tags jeans that are listed for upwards to around $60, even up to around $100, which is right there at retail. Their retail is $98. So definitely not reasonable. So what I try to do is find that sweet spot with pricing. Not too low and definitely not too high. I also like to have attractive numbers, especially numbers ending in 0 or 5. So me personally, I think that $50 is a very attractive number. If you're gonna list something for maybe 55 or $60, sometimes it can be more beneficial, obviously depending on your cost of goods, to just go ahead and lower it to $50. And I like to make it even better and take a cent off, so now you see $49.99 rather than $50. But like I said, I've experienced a lot more reasonable offers since I have been pricing a little bit more accordingly rather than leaving room for steeper offers. And I've also seen a lot more full price sales. But that leads me to my next piece of advice, which is to consider the offer that you initially send out. So for me on Poshmark, I send out 20% off plus discounted shipping with Posh Sidekick. If you want to check out Posh Sidekick, you can check out that link below. They do send out automatic offers to likers and share my closet all day long from my phone. So I do have the code 6637 below if you want to check it out. But if you are considering changing your prices, definitely make sure to factor in your cost of goods and this offer that you are sending out. Because if I have these jeans listed for $50, I have to consider the fact that if they don't sell for full price, I am going to sell them at most for $40 plus discounted shipping. So on Poshmark, that would leave me with $29.98. And if you subtract my cost of goods, which was $9.98, that would leave me with a $20 profit. Now, I'm very happy with that $20 profit, and I do believe that these will sell fairly quick. So that will be a successful sale. And usually my cost of goods are around $2 or less. These were just new with tags and a really valuable piece. But overall, I see pricing your items accordingly as kind of a trade-off, because for me, I am trying to get a much better sell-through rate and quicker sales. I am trying to get items in and out the door to new homes within 3 months or less. Rather than when I first started out reselling, I was definitely pricing my items a little bit higher. But overall, I found a lot more success in getting these quick sales after pricing my items a little bit more in that middle tier rather than pricing them a little too high. However, that is all the advice that I have to give for pricing. Let me know in the comments how you price your items. Do you leave room for a little bit more offers, or do you price your items a little more lower than usual to leave room for those full price sales and reasonable offers? But we have now gone over my 4 steps to optimizing your listings and making them much more searchable. Just to recap, we first talked about photographs, Make sure you have good lighting, a nice clean background, and use those stock photos when you can. In terms of titles, have a structure and template. Along with that, make sure you have those templates too for your description. Sure to include every single detail about that item, and make sure you have a nice clean list form that makes it easy to read for your shoppers. And for pricing, make sure to hit that sweet spot and have those competitive prices that are not too low but not too high. So if you want to see more reseller content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my weekly videos. And if you want to keep up with me on social media, any of my platforms, or check out the links below, make sure to look at the description for all of that information. But that is all that I have for you all today. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you for the next video.